Tourette's is not a joke. Hi guys, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for clicking onto this video. My name is Carly and I am here today to tell you all about the truth about Tourette syndrome. Now, there isn't some giant thing to unmask here. I'm sure a lot of you already know what this disorder entails, but I'm going to give you a brief rundown, just kind of like the nitty-gritty on what Tourette's is. So, basically, I'm not a doctor.
Wow, no way, Carly. We all thought you were a doctor. Could have fooled us.
But what I have been told is that Tourette's is a neurological disorder, so it affects the brain, and it involves causing people to make involuntary movements or sounds. And these involuntary movements and sounds are known as tics. In order to be diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, you do have to have multiple motor tics, and I believe at least one vocal tic. Don't quote me on that.
Yes, because you are a doctor.
But that is kind of the gist of the very, very, very tiny basics on Tourette's. Some of you are probably wondering, what are some examples of tics? Well, let me tell you. Some of the most common motor tics and vocal tics are blinking your eyes really hard or rapidly, scrunching your nose, throat clearing. The list honestly goes on. It's pretty much endless. Whatever your body can do or sound you can make, that could be a tic. Now, with all that educational stuff out of the way, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is my first video and it is just going to be a brief introduction to what my channel is going to be about. I am here to dedicate this channel to people with Tourette's and people who want to learn about Tourette's and just kind of spread awareness about the disorder, because I feel like there is a lack thereof in society. There was a long time in my life where I was quite frankly ashamed of my disorder. Let me take a step back here. Hi, I'm Carly. I'm 21 years old and I have Tourette syndrome. Hi. But there was a time I just wouldn't tell anyone about it. I would hide it. I would hold in my tics, which we will get to in another video, but that is very hard to do. I always shied away from it and was just hiding behind this mask of the disorder, which I just was heartbreaking for me, being diagnosed at 12 and just feeling so ashamed due to the stigma that society had presented about the disorder. So I am here today to give you guys 3 little brief points on Tourette's and what I'd like you to take away from this video today. So stay tuned to hear those 3 points and let's get to it. Number 1 is one that might take a little bit of time to really get the full details of, just because it's pretty complicated and I haven't figured it out myself completely yet, so bear with me. The first step in the truth about Tourette's is, what is it like to tic? So the best way I can describe it is like an itch. And I'm sure if you've done your research, you've heard this metaphor plenty of times. But say, for example, you have a really itchy arm right here and you're just like, gotta scratch it. But what if society and everyone around you is saying,
hey, don't scratch that. That's kind of not cool.
And your brain was just like,
yo, dude, let's scratch right now.
It eventually encompasses your whole thought. You're just like, you can't focus on a conversation, you can't focus on school, you can't focus on work. You're just focusing on that meeting with your scratching arm.
Hey, me and you wanna scratch?
So if you have this itch that is just really insistent that needs to be scratched and you're trying not to scratch it, it just overwhelms your mind and it's just like, I gotta scratch this itch right now. And so you eventually give into the urge. This may not be as suitable of a metaphor as that of the coughing metaphor. So one more quick metaphor for you guys. Say you are sitting in a lecture and you're like,
yo, I gotta pay attention, this is super important, taking notes, writing all this stuff down.
And you feel like you have to cough. This is not uncommon, but say once you do cough, you have to cough again, and then again, and then again, because the urge in your throat just hasn't settled. So as with the previous metaphor, this is just gonna overwhelm your entire brain. You're gonna be like,
I can't think of anything else except for having to cough. Like, my throat is on fire.
and that's another thing. When I have tics, it feels like there are thousands of red ants crawling on the affected part of my body. Now, I'm not sure if this is normal for most Tourette's sufferers, but that's how I feel, and it is brutal, to be honest. It's not fun to live in constant battle with your own body. Not fun. But I guess I just wanted to compare it to something you guys might know or relate to a little bit, because it might help you understand a little bit better.
Yes, because everyone has fire ants crawling on their arms 24/7. Good one, Carly.
Number 2 on the list is, this is like the main one in my opinion. Tourette's is not a joke. Please don't think it's a joke. I was diagnosed when I was 12, and quite frankly, I didn't really know what it was. I was told,
Hi, Carly, you have Tourette's.
but I wasn't told what it was, who had it, like, was it normal? I wasn't told all of that stuff. So little old me went to Google, and this is something that really affected me and still does to this day. When I was Googling Tourette's on the keyboard and just looking it up, Google Images was kind of shocking. As a 12-year-old, I saw things that were mocking and making fun of and just basically degrading people who had Tourette's. I believe now when you Google it, the images section is a little bit different. Billie Eilish is on there. Love her. I'm so glad that she came out with that. But it just sucks to see a lot of things like
Best hit compilation video.
or things like that that kind of not necessarily mock, but just kind of downplay what people with Tourette's go through. And I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever or the best thing ever. It's just hard to deal with sometimes. And I still struggle with accepting myself to this day, which is part and parcel why I'm making this video and starting this channel. And finally, step number 3 into the truth about Tourette's is what you can do. This is something I've really wanted to share with the world ever since I was diagnosed. Some things you can do to make it easier on people with Tourette's is to not mention their Tourette's to them or their tics to them. It kind of sounds simple, but a lot of the time people are like,
Hey, Carly, why aren't you ticking?
and then guess what? That triggers the tics. So my advice to you would be to just stay chill, don't mention it. And if you do have to mention it, keep it in a low-key kind of conversation. Don't bring up having to tick in like a public place or a place where you're not supposed to be ticking, because it's gonna suck for the person with Tourette's. They're gonna end up ticking anyway. Another thing you can do is to not listen to the stigma. The stigma is something that still affects me to this day, but as a young 12-year-old girl Googling those terms, it broke my heart, and it was mainly the reason why I kept my diagnosis to myself. If you break the stigma and just kind of accept people, could you imagine a world where people with Tourette's can tick in public without being stared at or being laughed at or being mocked? It would just be phenomenal. And I guess that's it. These are just 3 really easy things you can do, and 3 easy things you can learn about, and just 3 things you should know about Tourette's, because I feel like most people in the world don't really care about it, don't really know about it, and if they do, it's just kind of like on the back burner. But for someone like me, it is in the forefront of my life, and so it would just be really great if the world kind of changed a little bit and just accepted people for who they are. Thank you for watching, and I really hope this quick brief, it's probably not brief anymore,
It's 10 minutes long. You failed, Carly.
but this introductory video gave you a little bit of insight on what Tourette's is and what it's like to live with it and what you should or shouldn't do when dealing with it. And if you stay tuned to my channel, I will be posting every Friday and having new kind of mental health themed videos. This has always been a dream of mine to create a channel which helps not only you guys, but also helps me come to terms with my diagnosis and kind of finally embrace it and accept it and learn to one day love it, maybe. But if you did enjoy it, I would love it if you subscribed to my channel, left a comment letting me know what you guys want to see, as well as shared this video if it meant anything to you at all. That'd be cool. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.